NAVA acknowledges the Gadigal and Wangal peoples of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the land on which this was filmed, and pay respects to First Nations communities, ancestors and elders.
I'm Ruha Fifita and currently live in Yugambeh country in Logan, Brisbane. My practice at the moment involves a lot of working with natural materials that are sourced from Tonga and Fiji, so natural fibres that are needed in bark cloth works, or painted bark cloth works, which we call ngatu in Tonga.
What has been a turning point in your career?
Well, I think the move to Australia, it was something that impacted my practice, or the way that I think about visual arts, and that the practice of making ngatu in the space that I grew up making and learnt about the practice. It was very much, the way that you figure out what contribution it's making to the community, why we do it, and culturally there's a lot of, there is more that can be understood without having to explicitly speak about it or understand. And when you move to a very different place like Australia, you have to become more conscious of what those things were, and what from the practice now you can draw on to also think about what your contribution can be to a new kind of context, and what being in this context allows you then to learn about, to be able to offer those same, those relationships that you still hold. So yeah, that's something I continue to reflect on.
What is the most pressing issue for you as an artist right now?
I think there's a tendency to kind of fragment disciplines or fragment fields of knowledge. Art is separate from science, is separate from, in a way, a challenge then is like that's created certain pathways to be able to engage, or certain ways that success is defined or career might look. And so a lot of it is not to criticize necessarily. It's more of you make a lot of assumptions yourself about what you should be doing or how you should be thinking. And so I guess that of having the courage and taking the time to think deeply about things so that you can articulate them, and you can ask the questions, and you can say, hey, could we do this differently? Like, if you don't ask, sometimes it's, you just perpetuate ways without even knowing.
What is something you wish you knew when you were starting out as an artist?
One thing that stands out for me is this realization that every generation, every individual, as much as they are responsible for honouring and safeguarding elements of culture and, this body of knowledge that belongs to humanity, and portions of it that belong to specific communities, to be stewards of, that in the same mix to see that part of that responsibility is about seeing yourself also as a co-creator of culture. And this is something that I think takes a lot of courage and discipline to do. Yeah, I've been really grateful for, certain relationships that have made that more and more explicit to me in my practice, and also provided the support that's needed as you kind of take that on.
How has NAVA's code of practice been useful to your work as an artist?
It's so helpful when you're asking questions to be able to refer to resources and tools that have been fed into by years of experience, of diverse experience, and make decisions about the way that you work that correspond to like the highest standard of practice as we know it now, kind of a thing. It makes you feel safe, especially when you're working between very different social contexts. But to become more aware of even things you maybe didn't even think about because it has been a common experience, it was a question once that someone had, is incredibly invaluable. And to know that what you learn can also contribute to that for others.
What brings you joy in your work?
Yeah, I guess my own upbringing has kind of guided me to really think about life as considering ways that you can develop your potential and your capacities as much as possible, but to see that as inseparable to also how you can contribute to the world around you, the betterment of the world around you. Yeah, art making is inseparable for me to fulfilling that twofold purpose that allows me to learn so much. So it's where, I'm able to access and feel like I'm contributing to a growing body of knowledge that is meaningful to me and to others that I'm connected to. And it's at the heart of so many relationships I have, my family, extended family, community. All of those things are defined by my participation in this way of working. So